In a world where finance meets technology, the real question isn't about disruption. It's about purpose. How can innovation truly serve people and drive inclusion? Today, we explore what it really means to challenge the system, to build a fairer, more inclusive future. And for that, I have the pleasure of speaking with the biggest of rebels and the most unconventional and well-known fintech entrepreneur out there, Matteo Rizzi. It is the troublemakers who effect real innovation. That is a belief Matteo Rizzi has long shared as a dear friend and one of my mentors in this industry. He's one that has guided his work as an unconventional thinker, fintech investor, disruptor before Swift knew what fintech and Bitcoin looked like, an author, a true catalyst for change. From Time Pledge to caring about finance across the globe, today we explore how fintech can serve society, how inclusion and sustainability are much more than just the foundation for innovation, but was truly expected for an ecosystem to thrive. Welcome, Matteo Rizzi. Welcome to another episode here of Finance of Tomorrow podcast, but this one is special. My mentor, my friend, decade working together in this space, and the notorious and infamous Matteo Rizzi. Matteo.
Oh, thank you, Bianca. Such a pleasure and an honor to be here, hosted by you, actually.
I know.
It's unusual, right?
The world turns around. Usually Matteo is the one hosting me in conferences across the world, and now he's here as one of the partners. Matteo, welcome to Rio.
Thank you. First time, amazing. I often said that I've been to several places in Brazil, but never to the best one.
Yes,
and,
of course.
or at least the one that I like the most so far. Mm-hmm. So yeah, look forward.
Tell me for people out there, what is Matteo doing now?
So Matteo now has we struck a partnership with fintech stage with GFTN. So GFTN is a spin-off of the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the famous organizers of the Singapore Fintech Festival, the largest fintech event in the world. And, we were, as you know well, doing some work in Africa. So we struck a partnership, thanks to which Fintech Stage is now part of GFTN organization.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I stayed as an advisor.
I know how many years you worked to build this thing. I remember Italy days. We'll put some old photos for memory's sake.
Exactly. So now we are dealing with Middle East and Africa for GFTN. There are two very large platforms, one in Rwanda and one in Ghana. Next week, we are doing the Global SME Finance Forum in Johannesburg, but this event next year will be in the US. It was in Brazil actually last year. Is an event from the World Bank, so it's very
travels around.
Exactly, it's focused on the SMEs. So this is I want to say a good chunk of my life, and the rest is Time Pledge, which is this.
Let's talk about Time Pledge.
So Time Pledge is basically we morphed Fintech Stage into Time Pledge. So what used to be Fintech Stage today is Time Pledge. And Time Pledge was born 5 years ago as a platform to coach African entrepreneurs for free on soft skills. And now it became an upskilling platform in partnership with 15 African universities. We started 6 months ago in Uganda with the University of Makerere in Kampala. So we focus the 1% best talent of the African continent in three sectors: data scientists, cybersecurities, and full stack DevOps.
Okay.
And we try to make them the future job creator of the continent. Africa is the youngest continent, probably followed up by Latin America very closely. Yeah. And I was saying in a panel, but the preparation, the level of education, the level of resources of the academic system is not the same, obviously. So we try to bring some experts from outside and basically coach them on how to build companies, upskilling them on the coding skills so they can build better products. Exactly. And at the end of the day, also putting them in touch with the African startups that do fundraise so that they can have the best resources.
Jobs.
So exactly. So it's not easy because there is a lot of money that is thrown, to emerging markets in general.
And thrown, we've seen it over the years,
If you look Matteo up online, from a media network to Gates Foundation, we've crossed paths in many different places, but a huge part is attracting the right kind of capital. So where are you in that journey? Like when you look back and you look now, like are we still like grassroots?
So no, a lot has happened. I mean, I think that now let's say you want to focus on Africa if you want to. You know better than me Latin America, but in Africa today, if you launch a startup, it is decently easy to get seed capital if you know the right people, and if not, it's certainly easy enough to get into this vibe of an incubator, an accelerator, a program. Now, the danger of it is that it can become a national sport, like an Olympic African
Incubator.
sport. Yeah, no, going through to like one grant to another or mini grant to another, so that you end up not building, but just surviving on grants, right? So that's the flip side of the same coin. At the same time, there are enough, let's say, point of touch in the different ecosystems, even if there are at least three velocity, right? So there is the Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, South Africa, and maybe Ethiopia velocity. Then there is, let's say, Francophone Africa, some countries, of the East Africa, and then there are the frontiers market, from Mali to South Sudan to Burundi, exactly.
Where you look and you say,
Eswatini.
okay, 50 million people in a couple of years, huge market,
Exactly.
nothing on the ground.
But still, we are talking about easy 500 million people that are in this frontiers market. By the way, 300 million only in Francophone Africa, 100 million
Which is
in
crazy, right? Because we don't talk about Francophone Africa as if it was the size of the United States.
How about Portuguese-speaking Africa, right?
Yeah.
100 million people, almost nowhere in terms of fintech, with very little exception. So, and became my passion, right? So Time Pledge is one angle, but the other angle is I probably mentored, I want to say, 10 to 20 startups a year in frontiers market. In some of them, I micro invest. In some others, it's just like a free time, whatever, for karma or for a greater future good. Exactly. But what needs to change, you were talking about capital, is the way investment is thought about. So people keep chasing unicorns in Africa.
Yeah.
And maybe the right
Instead
way.
of building real products.
Exactly. And also not thinking that a startup that makes, 2 million, ARR and is sold to 20 to 30 million to a bigger player that makes a better product and take the same startups into other markets is without of a doubt a great exit.
A huge win.
Which is not a VC terms sort of exits. But it's amazing because it creates more entrepreneurs, it creates wealth.
It keeps the wealth inside.
Exactly.
We know that, right? We know it when the companies turn into like huge unicorns. The founders are usually in the UK or in some island by the time the whole thing is done.
Exactly. There are a few actually African entrepreneurs.
Looking back.
Most of them, part of the diaspora.
Like me in Rio.
Yeah, true.
We come back, right? You go to Italy, I go to Rio, we try.
Exactly. Or like the founder of Flutterwave, my friend E, that now is built a fund called Future.Africa. And Future Africa is basically 50 to 100 entrepreneurs, really like tailored help to help them build, and there are a couple of unicorns already. It's been there for 10 years, right? But we need more people that have a different mentality, right? Because if you are the Silicon Valley guy with a $300 million fund, putting 20 million in African startup, hoping to get 10x in 5 years, maybe it's not going to happen, right? Or
it often doesn't, right? It becomes kind of like almost like the diversity inclusion token in your portfolio.
Exactly.
And I'm like, can we just call this something else? Because then at least we can get better metrics.
Exactly. So you just had a panel on stable coin remittances in Africa. Huge theme. So there are, in the past year, probably I can name on the top of my head 6 startups doing just that. Funded between, I want to say 3 and 10 million. By huge names, including the tether of the situation. Now, we will need consolidation. We cannot keep creating
Small little
one
APIs
players,
of APIs. Yeah.
Exactly. One player for every frontier market that does exactly the same, that pulls out liquidity sort of homemade by, literally pulling out the Bianca's capital and the Matteo's capital in a given city, to make things happen. But on the good side, we are at the beginning of an amazing journey because these rails are the one that will change the future of the continent.
Totally.
Banking is too broken
Dead.
to work.
Completely.
Too broken to work.
I couldn't agree more. When you look at these other frontiers, what gets you excited about Africa or where you're spending your time?
So
Because, we're here in Finance of Tomorrow, here, all the buzzword bingos of the day, AI, stable coins, angelic payments, blah, 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 open insurance. This guy was talking insurtech before it was a word. I'll find the video and put it on this podcast. But what is like, do you see any of this really are we making new types of tech?
I wanna I wanna break a leg for a founder that I backed. This time as a co-founder, you don't even know that. Is an agentic.
I hear now.
Is an agentic AI platform that is able to create insurance brokers from scratch without people, and we're live with 3 clients. But
And you've been talking about this for 30 years.
And the beauty of it is that there is a token associated to it that fuel the agents.
Okay.
So there are a lot of people who are talking about agentic AI and wallets that are
Capable of integrating, but the wallets are not custody in a different service.
Exactly.
And that's why today most AIs are just like a dumb bot that puts your change somewhere.
But we are actually live with 2 French clients, and the third one coming out soon. And you can actually rent a specific agent that becomes specialized, for example, in claims for 18 to 21 years old young drivers insurance. You can rent it, you can pay it in token. The token is called 6022. Of course, it did some 90x since the beginning. We launched in January this year, so today is September. And now this is scratching the surface, of course, but the collaborative AI, because this was all about creating clones that collaborate with humans, this is what excites me. Why? Because even when you think of the time pledge role, so how do you truly demultiply teaching code to students in local dialects, for example, and paired with English, with no infrastructure,
no internet, no anything.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is what excites me, is that using AI as a mean to an end, and the end in this case is completely automatized insurance, but also learning. Fascinating.
I find that fascinating because I think we often look inside, okay, what real problem did we solve, right? And often we're asking the questions of AI totally wrong. Like there's a whole narrative around AI and job loss versus like, was I meant to do this crappy work to begin with? And can somebody just do it for me? Like when you tell me there's an agent AI, I keep thinking about how many flights you and I have taken. And I would like an agent AI to just make all my flight complaints.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine that?
Absolutely. When you think about, think of emerging markets as the cradle of the creators economy, right? All these young Africans that use,
TikTok,
social media
YouTube.
Exactly to either sell content or produce content. Think how AI is changing completely the games in giving that opportunity to actually easily, without code, like a building application and actually portal and services around their content, right? Creators economy is there for what? I think I was talking about creators economy 7 years ago. AI changed everything, right?
Totally.
Because
it made it possible. It made a business model. It made math possible.
Absolutely. So this is, probably a second thing that fascinates me about like Africa particularly. And lastly, as you know, I live in Lisbon, so we're not talking Portuguese here in Brazil because
Mas a gente
whatever.
pode, se quiser.
A gente poderia, mas pronto. Não sei se podemos fazer a segunda parte do podcast em português, mas uma coisa que eu quero dizer em português. Por quê? Porque estou a falar agora com a África da Lopes.
Ok.
Angola, Moçambique, São Tomé, Guiné-Bissau e Cabo Verde. É incrível a oportunidade de inovação Nessa parte da África estamos a falar de 100 milhões de pessoas.
Vamos fazer um outro evento, fala com eles só em português,
Deveríamos,
Matteo.
e com certeza...
Fica aí a dica, quem quiser.
E com certeza na
patrocinar,
FOT do ano que vem deveríamos de convidar aos reguladores da África para Lopes.
estarem todos lá.
Há muitos que me conhecem, depois vou fazer um tag dessa gente no podcast, os vamos convidar no próximo ano, né?
Temos muitos a fazer. Matteo, você é sempre um rebelde. Escreveu um livro que eu lembro, eu estava no começo de engatinhar na minha vida profissional sozinha, tinha vendido uma empresa. Esse me senta e fala assim, tem um livro para escrever, para mostrar essa idade, essa gente chata, Talent Rebels. E você, como um lindo, sempre rebelde, sempre com esse tênisinho vermelho, assinatura deles. O que você deixa para a galera aí no ar, que vê a sua carreira, vê o quanto que a gente viaja, o quanto você já aprendeu, o quanto você já fez, o quanto você já construiu. O que é ser rebelde para o Matteo?
Então, eu acho que o segredo é um pouco tentar viver com os rebeldes que tens dentro da empresa, em vez de fugir eles, né? Tentar integrá-los. Estadisticamente, tu sempre tens 1% do pessoal que trabalha numa empresa que é um pouco um talento lateral, né? Falamos, tu serias se tivesse a coragem um dia em 50 anos de trabalhar para uma empresa, tu farias parte desses rebeldes da empresa mesma. Pronto.
Talvez aquela garela que não fit in,
Pronto, mas
mas
lidar com uma Bianca numa grande empresa seria complicado, como lidar com uma Matteo.
Lidar com uma Bianca é complicado.
Já é complicado em geral, mas ainda mais numa estrutura corporativa,
Justo,
né?
a gente não cabe dentro.
Exatamente. Mas a ideia é, se tu consegues usar esses recursos como um asset, em vez de como uma liability, que é isso que acontece.
Sua vida muda.
Não somente a sua vida, mas também a vida da empresa. Por quê? Porque finalmente vas a poder encarar o que ainda a empresa não está fazendo.
E que tem muita coisa, né? Tem muito assunto que a empresa não tem coragem de encarar.
Exatamente.
E como é que alguém de uma empresa, de um banco, de um órgão regulatório, faz espaço para um talento rebelde? Qual que é a dica? Além de ler seu livro. Que a gente vai deixar aqui também.
Então, primeiro há que identificá-los e depois saber quem são, né? Esse é o primeiro. E depois, pues, tentar, em vez de separar-os do resto da empresa, tipo, fazer como uma equipa, né? Mesmo usar essa gente como um dos recursos da empresa mesmo. Há os analíticos, há os rebeldes, há os managers, há gente que está boa com os criadores. E os rebeldes são das componentes da inovação, para poder fazer a inovação radical, né? Versus a inovação incremental, que obviamente a gente precisa, porque sempre há que fazer um pouco melhor que já a gente faz. Exatamente. Mas os rebeldes encaram o futuro que ainda a empresa não está a fazer. E é isso.
E é isso.
Acho que já temos muito...
E agora ficou barulho.
Pois, mas não importa, tá? É a beleza de estar aqui no live, né?
Se está no evento, se está no live, a gente vai assim no barulho. Se você gostou, eu adorei. Eu passo 60 horas com ele conversando. Obrigada por assistir mais um podcast aqui do Finance of Tomorrow. Do jeito que o Matheus e eu somos. Se deixar, a gente passa mais 2 línguas aqui. E essa entrevista vai à volta ao mundo.
Bia, muito obrigado.
Obrigada, Matheus, de estar aqui. Paz.